As you can see, it's holiday time here in Middle Tennessee, and I'm at the beautiful clubhouse of the fantastic 55 and over community, Webb Lake Providence, right here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Today I want to talk to you real quick about investing in real estate and if that's a good idea or not right now. But let's go inside and I'll show you why I'm here. Every month at Webb neighborhoods across the country, they publish a monthly magazine specifically for that neighborhood. This is the one, can you see that? This is the issue for right here at Lake Providence in Mount Juliet. It's called Around the Lake. This picture was taken by one of the residents, Bob Tamboli. He did a great job with that. Inside this particular issue, they did an article on yours truly. They did a great job on that. I'm really happy with it. So thank you for doing such a great job with that, Rita and Dean. I appreciate that. If any of you might want a copy of this, I can probably get you a digital copy, so you can comment down below or shoot me an email. I can send this to you. There are a few details in there about me that you probably don't know already. Today's video is not going to be a deep dive into real estate investing. It's intended to just be a little more thought-provoking, looking into 2023 to possibly give you some ideas and get your wheels turning about some ways you could be investing your hard-earned money or equity in the real estate market looking ahead into 2023. So as I talked about in this video here, as you look at the value of homes year over year, those numbers continue to rise. As I mentioned in this video, there's a lot of doom and gloom in the headlines right now about home prices falling compared to June. But if you look back over the years, as a matter of fact, let's take a look at this graph. Why did I start this in 1995? Well, that's because that's when I came to Nashville. So I figured that's a good time to take a look at this. But at a quick glance, it's a no-brainer. These numbers go up. Over the long course of time, those numbers continue to rise. Now, these are national numbers. As you can see here, these are the median sales prices of houses across the country in the United States, okay? So averaging there in the fall of 1995, you can see that the national median of home sale prices was around $133,000. Fast forward to this year, and you can see the median price of home sales across the country is now $455,000. So over the long run, if you have owned a home for any duration of time, the value has gone up. These are national numbers. Let's look specifically here in the Nashville area. Here are some numbers that are specifically about the 9 counties that make up the Nashville area. In November, since we're in the middle of December 2022, we don't have those numbers quite yet. So let's look at November. The median price, taking into account the 9 counties that make up the Nashville area. In November of 2019, the median price of a home was $322,000. In November of 2020, the median price of a home in the Nashville area was $350,000. In 2021, the median price of a home in the Nashville area was $425,000. And this November 2022, just last month, the median price of a home was $460,000. So you can look at those national numbers and say, yeah, but what about Nashville, or what about Middle Tennessee? In the past 4 years, guess what? The value of homes have gone up. Let's say, hypothetically, even if the home value itself stayed the same, which it's not, you are continually month after month making payments on that house. So you're continually month after month gaining equity, the value that you have between what's owed on the house and what it's actually worth. Every time you make a mortgage payment, you gain more equity, more value that you personally own in that piece of real estate. You know what else has gone up and will continue to go up is the cost of rent. So owning a house, your mortgage payment, if you have one, if you have the means to buy one outright, that's fantastic, that's the goal, right? But even with a mortgage, that mortgage payment is not gonna change year to year to year to year for most conventional loans. But if you are renting, The bad news is rent is going to continue to rise every year. If you own the home and you're renting it out to someone else, the good news is rent prices go up year after year after year after year. And that's very normal. That's just the way it is. Rent prices continue to rise year after year, but your mortgage payment doesn't. Now add to that the value of the house is going to go up, your equity exponentially gets bigger and bigger and bigger. For those of you that have already been down that road and you already have a house or more than one house, you know that you have, especially over the course of the past 2 years, most likely a lot of equity in your home that you did not have 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So what do you do with that newfound equity?
I'm gonna buy me a bigger shed!
One thing that we're seeing a renewed interest in here recently, because buyers have the opportunity to negotiate with sellers again, we're seeing investors put their newfound equity into more real estate. And if that interests you at all, please reach out to me. But here's the general thought. Use that equity that you've got in your home, whether it's through a HELOC or some other program that your local banker has, to capitalize on the equity that you have in your current home and put that into an investment property. For who? Well, it depends. Do you want a second home here in the Nashville area? Or do you have a family member, possibly a recent college grad, son, daughter, or maybe even a grandson or granddaughter that is renting? Here's a thought. Give them the opportunity to be a landlord.
We don't know anything about being landlords.
Now, am I suggesting that you just write a check and buy your grandson or granddaughter a house at no cost and, wrap it up in a bow and give them a house at no cost? No, that's not necessarily what I'm suggesting. However, they most likely don't have the credit history that you have, and they most likely don't have the amount of equity that you may have in your current house. So if you can use a home equity line to get them started in a new house, or if you can use your credit score and your credit history to join with them to co-sign for a house and let them find roommates and charge rent and go through that process of being a responsible homeowner, even though the house most likely will be in your name, or depending on the responsibility of that young adult, you may co-sign with them and have their name on the deed as well. But give them the opportunity to be a landlord and collect rent every month and let them pay you rent, since you're the one that has any type of risk involved in owning the house. This not only gives them life lessons of choosing responsible roommates, but it also, as you fast forward, if you opt to allow them to basically buy you out of the deed, or you choose to turn that house over to them, it really gives them a leg up. Again, I'm not suggesting that you just buy the house outright and give it to them. They're going to pay for it either by having roommates and charging rent, or they're going to buy you out of the deed. It's just food for thought. I've seen it happen time and again, where if you have the opportunity to help a family member out with either your credit or your home equity, and most likely, if let's say you're charging 3 roommates a few $100s each to cover the rent every month, most likely that's gonna be more than what your mortgage payment is gonna be anyway. So you could actually be cash flowing that property and helping a family member out all in one fell swoop. Now let's say you don't have that young family member that you wanna help out. You just wanna do this for yourself, and maybe you've never had an investment property before. Couple things I would suggest. One, property managers are well worth the small percentage of the monthly fees that they take. They will vet your tenants, they will make sure that rent payments are on time, and they will also take care of repairs. Now you're gonna have to decide, if you wanna foot the bill to make a repair and who you're gonna have do that, but worst case scenario, you'll get a phone call from your property manager just asking you to make a decision. But they will arrange that repair, they'll make sure that it's done, they'll make sure it's done in a timely manner, and they will take care of that property for you. Again, well worth the money. I've managed properties on my own and through a property manager, and it is well worth the expense of having a property manager oversee your properties for you. Now, with the market the way it is right now, and the history of the past 2 years of that steep incline that we've seen, buying and doing a quick flip on an investment property might not be the best idea right now, simply because we're at such a high peak of where those prices have capped out. Now we are seeing, as I mentioned in this video, we're seeing prices start to plateau. So think right now, I would suggest if you're getting into the investing game in real estate, I would suggest, think 5 to 10 years from now, what you want to see happen with that particular piece of property. Anything you hold on to over 2 years, you're not going to have to pay any capital gains on the profit that you make when you sell it. But again, with the market the way it is right now, I would encourage you to think a little bit more long term. So a few quick tips if you're thinking about looking for an investment property here in the Nashville area going into 2023. One, look for those prices that have been sitting on the market for a while. If they've been on the market, that means the seller might be getting a little bit antsy and ready to strike up a deal. Even better yet, regardless of how long they've been on the market, look for the ones that have actually lowered their price. And sometimes if you just look at a listing, you don't see that information. But a real estate professional can search back through that listing history to get exactly how much they've dropped the price, if at all. And third, be ready to negotiate. Find out what that seller is willing to do to help you make the sale and take that property off of their hands. This was unheard of. Just in the past year and a half up through this past summer, houses were selling quicker than you could list them. But right now is a great opportunity for you to see that property that's been on the market for a while. You've seen that they've lowered the price once or twice, and now you can go to them and ask for things like home warranties or covering closing costs or doing repairs on the house that, again, just 8 months ago was unheard of to ask for that in an offer. But now sellers are willing to work with buyers more to give them a little bit more of what they need to get started in that new property. And fourth, and certainly not least, work with a qualified full-time real estate professional. Not only ones that are vetted and have references for you, but one that you simply get along with. There are a lot of hurdles and obstacles that may arise between the time that you go under contract to the time you close on a house. And heaven forbid, when some of those obstacles come up that get things very emotional and very heated, the last thing you want is a real estate agent that you're going, I knew I didn't like you from the very beginning. So make sure you're working with somebody that not only knows what they're doing, but that you feel like you could get along with for the long haul to make sure that this is a smooth transaction for everyone involved. If you have any questions or you'd like to look into real estate investing here in the Nashville area, leave me a comment down below or shoot me an email at andy@andyluskhomes.com. I appreciate you checking out the channel. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe down below and turn on that notification bell and you'll know when I post new content. I hope you learned something. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Where's the file? The 9 counties, including Davidson County, where Nashville